This has been milked. No puns intended. Let's continue with our coverage on something else, which is Silicon Valley pretty much going into hardcore defense.
Oil prices have...
A video from More Perfect Union to help us understand this more perfectly.
Watch this clip of Sam Altman having a very strange reaction to an interviewer who's pretty friendly to big tech, and I'll explain in a second.
How can the company with $13 billion in revenues make $1.4 trillion of spend commitments? And you've heard the criticism,
First
Sam.
of all, we're doing well more revenue than that. Second of all,
shut the fuck up. This is funny.
Yeah, chill.
This is fucking hilarious. This is very funny. It's very funny. Can't believe he was caught barehanded. Sorry.
Pretty friendly to big tech, and I'll explain in a second.
I guess that's why he loved all that honey, eh? Let's just say he wasn't eating it, if you know what I mean.
How can the company with $13 billion in revenues make $1.4 trillion of spend commitments? And you've heard the criticism,
first
Sam.
of all, we're doing well more revenue than that. Second of all, Brad, if you want to sell your shares, I'll find you a buyer. Enough.
So why does Altman seem so upset here? After all, this interviewer is just pointing out a basic fact that OpenAI...
Thank you, Red Edge Planet, for giving birth to a child soldier. Thank you very much.
Why does Altman seem so
This is such a red flag, dude.
upset here? After all, this interviewer is just pointing out a basic fact that OpenAI has committed to spend over $1 trillion on AI infrastructure over the next 8 years, despite only bringing in around $13 billion a year in recurring revenue, less than 1% of what they're promising.
Why the fuck is he so rude? Because that's the one thing that they fear. Questioning the potential financial feasibility of their project's infinite growth. That's the only thing they fear, because it is growing, because nobody is questioning the fact that it's going to grow. The second enough potential investors question how much it can grow, they will either limit or pull out the amount of money they're pouring into this, which will then cause a snowball effect of other investors pulling out, which will then make the whole deck of cards fall. When you're basically doing an infinite money glitch pitch to your investors, anybody questioning that it's an infinite money glitch is kind of destroying the infinite money glitch. Okay? The economy is indeed completely invented. Okay, if enough people believe in a thing, it can genuinely make them money. So if belief is how you sell, not believing in it ends up losing money for everybody.
Spend. I'm no money genius, and I'm personally terrible at budgeting, but that doesn't seem great. Most of the supposed growth in the American economy in 2025 was caused by investment in AI. That's all part of a promise being made by the industry, led by Sam Altman, that once a certain level of machine learning intelligence is reached, all of our problems will be solved.
The housing crisis, cancer, poverty, climate change, mental health, democracy, universal basic income, cure a bunch of diseases, this cancer and that one, and heart disease.
Helping you try to accomplish your goals and be your best.
Very high quality healthcare. Important new scientific discoveries. The marginal cost of energy are going to trend rapidly towards zero. It's a more equal world.
Universal extreme wealth for everybody.
In exchange for all that, Altman is asking all of society to put all of our eggs, our data, our economy, our water and resources, everything, into one basket. His. He's offering us one massive, just trust me, bro. So, should we trust Altman? Should we accept his deal? Is it even our choice? Altman isn't a technologist or scientist. He's an investor and deal maker, and really good at it, supposedly. But his whole career is
It's also because they refuse to admit that this entire house of cards is propped up by industrial policy. Neoliberalism just changed who got the rewards from investment in science and industry. But the major investor has always been the government, which is you, chat. They're just keeping all the profits. Beautifully put. Okay, I'm not going to say that. I feel like I'm too vulgar sometimes in my stream. My partner told me you're too vulgar, so I'm gonna become a good little Christian boy now. But yes. I cannot say what I wanted to say. Let's just say you have intellectually engorged me, okay?
Series of just trust me bro moments. So let's examine the deal Altman is offering all of us. Should we believe Sam Altman's promises? And what's the cost to the rest of us if those
Yeah, I heard of those allegations too.
promises turn out to be lies? So let's go back and look closer at Altman's early days in the tech industry. Altman's first big deal was selling his first company, Looped, a service for locating your friends. That's something that inherently needs lots of users to work, or else you're just locating yourself.
The operative idea seems to be ubiquity. I mean, get it out there in more ways than you can possibly imagine.
And make it available to everybody.
But the whole time, Looped refused to say how many users they had. Altman just insisted there were, quote, way more users than any other similar service. It turns out, though, that
How is that legal, dude?
towards the end, Looped only had 500 users. When Reuters reported this,
That is, oh my god, the guy is the ultimate con man. He might end up being the ultimate con man. Like, unironically, like the greatest one of all time. Because to engorge a entire quote-unquote new industry to such an extent that the world's largest economy is pretty much almost entirely wrapped up in its potential success or failure is the con of a millennia. Of a millennia. Thank you, Milla Square, for that gifty. Thank you very much, Milla Square.
Altman insisted it was 100 times more than that, and that he'd provide evidence. He never did. Just trust me, bro. Looped sold to the Green Dot Corporation, who shut it down immediately and never used any of the tech. Green Dot investors allege it was a dirty deal done to enrich Sequoia Capital, a VC firm with a stake in Looped, and 2 board members at Green Dot who helped approve the deal. Altman left Green Dot as soon as he was legally able, walking away with millions for building an app that no longer existed in any form. And luckily for Altman, someone saw something in him. Peter Thiel. Thiel, who once said that Altman should be treated as, quote, more of a messiah figure, gave Altman millions to start his own VC firm, Hydrazine Capital. And that's not all the capital Altman controlled. He was also hired as president of Y Combinator, or YC, an influential venture capital firm and startup incubator, where Looped got its original funding.
I think the president of YC is sort of the unofficial leader of the startup movement.
And Altman personally traded on that influence. The New Yorker reports that up to 75%.
Remember that era when Silicon Valley was going to cure every ill of society, even inside of the confines of capitalism, because bigger technology gonna solve everything, because it's gonna manage. And then they just made apps that track how much you walk. Well, we still live in that world. It's just now an app with an aggregate telling you how much you should walk. And then all of your taxes go into the government, and then the government is like, oh, all of your money, I'm going to put it in this thing. Which makes absolutely everybody else also say, I'm going to put it in this thing. This thing's definitely going to happen. Let's all put it in this thing. And now it's all there. It is. Tell me how the market economy is efficient again. Remind me, how is it efficient again? But then again, chat, let's be open to potentially making a mistake with this. Maybe, AI as they define it is going to be the cure to all of the world's ills. You never know. Maybe we're missing this incredible pitch that everybody else seems to be hearing, and not hearing, just understanding that, just believing that they're not going to be left to foot the bill when it starts crumbling. Okay, most of the largest investors in all of this know that it's a fucking bubble. Most of them know that it's going to fucking burst. They just are betting, as most investment always is, on pulling out before it pops, the way it has always been. I'm on the biggest camera. Excuse me, sir, but can I interest you in a video phone landline, or perhaps mail order steak service? This AI shit has fully convinced me that investors are the dumbest soup of brain monkeys on the entire planet who will keep throwing cash at a burning pile just because somebody told them it resulted in an extra 0.05% growth year over year. Sure, there are investors like that, but the majority are what I mentioned earlier. Okay? The true smart investor that makes money understands that in late stage capitalism, you don't make it by investing in a potentially great feasible product. You understand that you make money off of promises, off of over promising. You make money by betting on who other people are going to bet on, and then pulling out on time when all the contradictions pile up so much that even the everyday Joe starts taking their money out. Okay? Who ends up footing the entire bill? Every single taxpayer, because the government has invested in this immensely, and the smaller, mom and pop shop type of investors. That's who gets to eat the dirt.
Percent of Hydrazine's capital was invested in YC companies. Altman used his inside view to get a cut of YC's power, despite Altman promising.
Yeah, greater fool theory is like the prevailing way the modern markets work, 100%.
Saying he didn't cross-invest in YC companies.
Which is fascinating for Marxists because it proves the main criticism that we've always had of the market, and that is not its lack of ethics involved. That is not the fact that it aggregates further and greater power and wealth in fewer and fewer hands. It is that it's inefficient. It is unironically inefficient in driving forward human growth potential through finance capital. That's the main thing. Sure, we all agree. Okay, it's unethical. Oh, it leads to greater contradictions. Blah blah blah. But we also understand that this shit don't work, bro. Like, there can be better systems in place that can help us develop our species on this beautiful planet of ours at a much greater pace and in a much more sustainable manner. But no.
That's two big lies so far. The user base of Looped that needed users to exist, and his investments. In 2015, Altman leads YC into the investment you likely most know him for.
He's sort of a semi-company, semi-nonprofit doing AI safety research.
OpenAI was launched as the supposed nonprofit OpenAI Foundation, with a charter with a lot of lofty goals, a primary fiduciary duty to humanity, and avoiding enabling uses of AI or AGI that harm humanity or unduly concentrate power, while acting to minimize conflicts of interest among our employees and stakeholders.
And there were people in OpenAI that truly believed this, okay, that this is not exclusively a profit-driven company. And most of them left when OpenAI, openly, pun intended, became a exclusively profit-driven enterprise. Obviously, the argument to those who stayed was, we're not becoming an exclusively profit-driven company. We are simply garnering greater resources that allow us to develop our dreams by being present, by becoming purchasable as a stock option on the open market. Come on, dude. Come on.
The evidence that they do that? Just trust me, bro. OpenAI's primary financial backers were tech billionaires and millionaires like Altman himself, Peter Thiel, Reid Hoffman, and Elon Musk, and tech companies like Amazon Web Services and Infosys.
We wanted to build this with humanity's best interest at heart.
But in exchange, OpenAI is asking for a lot, putting all of society's eggs in one basket, if you will. They want electricity, water, infrastructure, capital, your data, your writing, your art, and for humanity to adjust to job loss, deepfakes, and everything else. All in exchange for some future promise of technology that fixes everything. So, can we trust him with all of this? Let's look at some of his biggest statements and promises to show how they tie to all the eggs in the basket. Altman insists he doesn't own any of OpenAI and he barely takes his salary.
I paid enough for health insurance. I have no equity in OpenAI. I'm doing this because I love it.
But he doesn't hide that he's already rich, trying to do a rich guy using money for good Batman thing.
That Batman, such a wonderful person. I don't deserve it.
But we millionaires decided that you do.
But let's look at how this is part of his honesty problem. And it ties in to the eggs in the basket, because Altman is invested in all the stuff necessary to build OpenAI. One of the eggs OpenAI needs is a ton of data. You can't build a large language model without examples of language and content. And one source of that data is Reddit. Altman owns a big share of the social networking site and was on its board until 2022. Reddit got its start in the same inaugural Y Combinator class as Looped. Here's Altman standing next to Reddit co-founder Aaron Swartz in 2005. Swartz died by suicide in 2013 after being criminally charged for you can't build a large language model without examples of language and content. And one source of that data is Reddit. Altman owns a big share of the social networking site and was on its board until 2022. Reddit got its start in the same inaugural Y Combinator class as Looped. Here's Altman standing next to Reddit co-founder Aaron Swartz in 2005. Swartz died by suicide in 2013 after being criminally charged for reproducing academic articles online and breaking copyright law. In 2015, Altman made a deal with Reddit, allowing OpenAI to, quote, basically aggressively scrape everything posted on the site to feed into OpenAI's tech. Reddit co-founder Alex Ohanian felt in his bones the deal was wrong. It's a less noble version of what Reddit co-founder Aaron Swartz was targeted by law enforcement for. Swartz wanted to open the knowledge up to everyone. Altman wanted to put it in his product. In 2014, Altman promised that he and other investors would give 10% of Reddit's value back to the Reddit community. That never happened due to regulatory issues. But just like Reddit's data going to OpenAI, a look at the areas Altman's wealth is invested in show a deep connection to other needs of the organization. He's invested in AI networking equipment companies, thermal battery companies, and even companies mining the rare earth metals that server farms require. And once it's all built, Altman will profit off the problems AI creates. We're going to focus on three: rising energy demands and costs, misuse like fraud and deepfakes, and job loss and economic collapse. Altman says again and again that OpenAI needs more power. The, quote, audacious long-term goal is to build 250 gigawatts of capacity by 2033. That much compute would require as much electricity as 1.5 billion people, the equivalent of the entire population of India. But Altman has a solution. Since they first met in the early 2000s, Peter Thiel and Sam Altman have had a shared interest: investing in nuclear power. Which isn't inherently bad, of course. Nuclear can be an extremely efficient and clean form of energy. But Thiel and Altman want to own it. Altman is invested in Helion and Oklo. Helion is working to build the first ever nuclear fusion power plant, a type of energy creation that many scientists say won't work. And Oklo is building microreactors, literally truck-sized nuclear reactors, which is a bit
Literally fallout before the bombs dropped, by the way. Privately owned mini nuclear reactors that everybody can buy and put in their car or fucking microwave. Literally fallout. Yes, my nuclear car will rock.
considering this investment strategy.
Part of our model is make the cost of mistakes really low and then make a lot of mistakes.
But for now, Oklo hasn't figured their reactors out yet, and are just using gas to keep up with the promises they made.
Nuclear startup Oklo and natural gas firm Liberty Energy today announcing a partnership to provide energy.
Dude, it's a fucking MLM. You connect already overinflated corporate projects with another corporate project, and now because it is attached to your project, it will obviously fucking explode. Because investors understand that other investors will also invest, and it's snowball on top of snowball on top of snowball on top of snowball. That's one way of looking at this. The other way is very scary, because the other one shows that the private sector in this case, the Silicon Valley private sector, is genuinely considering both privatizing and then purchasing as many potential resources that they can, with the idea that they will not have to ask anyone how many resources they can use for their future projects. You get what I mean? It's unironically like, okay, we're building something. We have immense amount of capital. What's stopping us from, quote unquote, eternal growth? And the answer is, well, resources that are publicly owned by everybody. So you got to get a sign off by government, by community, by regular everyday Joes to an extent. Okay, that's a fair point. How do we get rid of that? And the answer, ironically, for these people, because they can do it, because they have God levels of capital, was just, what if we just privatize and buy out those resources? Then we no longer have to ask anyone because of the sanctity of private property. And that's it. That's it. That's it. That's it.
Energy to large-scale customers.
Altman is also invested in multiple companies offering protection against AI bad actors, identity verification to deep fakes, and even
pays better. The only corporation I am a true patriot of Twitch will not be spoken badly of, okay? As a past YouTuber, I'm sorry, I know, it's disgusting, fucking YouTubers, fucking subhumans. That has come to Twitch, I can tell you, the way Twitch treats you and the way YouTube treats you are like two galaxies, two different dimensions, two different universes. So yes, Jeff Bezos, you shall be spared when the knife of revolution comes to your town. Thank you, Natism, for the 12 months. Thank you very much. Natty Sim. You're a sim and you're natty. Yay.
companies offering insurance for losses due to AI scams and hacking. That's like Batman not making any money off of crime fighting, but then selling Batmobile drove into my house insurance. While also running the Uber for henchmen startup that the Riddler uses and selling the Joker white makeup.
Based allegory.
One other big promise Altman makes is
allegory.
that when the AI he sees as inevitable makes many jobs obsolete, it'll create so much wealth that it can be shared with everyone. Just like his smaller scale Reddit promise that turned out to be bullshit. And in 2024, he announced the product that'd supposedly offer that shared
WorldCoin.
WorldCoin. WorldCoin.
WorldCoin.
WorldCoin is
WorldCoin, guys. Let's invest in WorldCoin. Trust me, bro. Your money's good in WorldCoin. Yes, have you heard about WorldCoin? I would really want to invest in WorldCoin. Come on, guys. Let's all invest in WorldCoin. Trust me, it's going to make us all very wealthy. Yes.
a technology company and cryptocurrency funded by all the usual suspects.
Imagine if I talk like that, would you be able to listen to me on stream? That's actually my real voice. This is me manipulating. Actually, I sound like this, guys. Yeah. Yeah, guys, I love
techno-fascism. WorldCoin's backers say it can be a way to give out some form of universal basic income when AI starts replacing jobs.
I think this idea that we have a global currency that is outside of the control of any government is a super logical and important step on the tech tree.
But it also sells itself as a solution to identity verification problems created by AI. They want to use these orbs as a method of trusted identity check. And you don't get your universal basic income until you scan your eyes into the orb. And like many of Altman's other projects, from Looped to ChatGPT, it requires universal adoption to be of any business use. A currency and identification system are pretty useless if other people don't use them.
Yeah.
So again, Altman is making an offer. Give us your identity, and we'll give you cryptocurrency. It's a classic Altman deal. I'll fix everything if you sign over everything. Just trust me, bro.
Trust me, bro, the economy, dude. The late stage capitalist era should be called Trust Me, Bro, the economy. But, sir, you have not proven anything that you said, but trust me, bro. Okay, here's all my money. Thank you, sir.
It's almost like Altman wants to build a whole other economy.
Some smart guy at some point said, oh, if you repeat something enough times, it will become truth. Well, welcome to the 21st century reality. I will personally shove that orb up his ass. Palmer, I think there's some celebrations coming. Freaking happy new news cycle. Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. Thank you, Palmer. Sexy ass.
Just in case.
Also, hi.
The one we have now falls apart. Well, we'll get to that. In 2019, OpenAI gave up any pretense of being nonprofit and started a for-profit branch, then spun the for-profit out into its own entity in 2024. That for-profit organization has none of the same legal responsibilities as the nonprofit did. And
funny how that goes that way, eh?
Like Microsoft, which invested $13 billion, which OpenAI largely spent on Microsoft products. And it's not just Microsoft. NVIDIA has promised to invest $100 billion in OpenAI over the next few years. Money that OpenAI...
There you go, a loop of trust me bros. Being confirmed by the flow of capital, which then motivates further flow of capital. And the only thing that keeps it in check is the unwritten handshake between all of these governments and mega corporations, which is do not question it, do not talk to anybody that questions it, do not talk about the possibility of failure, because that is the only thing that can potentially make this thing burst. But if you really insist on doing it, and if you're going to do it at some point, if you really see that this bubble is going to burst, please tell us first so that we pull out our money before anyone else.
Will spend buying NVIDIA chips. OpenAI has similar circular deals with AMD, the Qatari government, and Larry Ellison's Oracle.
How about the $20 you owe me?
Well, I only got 10, so here's 10 and I owe you 10.
Thanks.
Hey, Mo, you owe me 20.
Well, here's 10 and I'll owe you 10.
You owe me 20. Here's 10, I owe you 10. Here's 10, I owe you. Here's 10, I owe you. Here's 10, I owe you. Good, now we're all even.
The entire economy is tied to the success of Altman's project.
We might screw it up. Like, this is the bet that we're making.
Yes.
How old is this TikTok? Like, holy mother of God, dude. I have seen this, like this, in different iterations on TikTok and Instagram, like at least once a month for the last 300 years, dude. That's why More Perfect Union is based, like maybe they found the OG clip, okay? Now everybody should pay money to these three guys or the owner of this movie because intellectual property matters, okay?
Good, now we're all even.
The entire economy is tied to the success of Altman's project.
We might screw it up. Like, this is the bet that we're making, and we're taking a risk along with that.
Who is the we taking the bet? Here's OpenAI's CFO.
Banks, private equity, maybe even governmental, the ways governments can come to bear.
Meaning like a federal subsidy or something?
Meaning like just first of all, the backstop, the guarantee that allows the financing to happen.
Yeah. Fancy corporate words for if government invests in this shit, everybody's going to invest in this shit because they believe that a project is almost infallible when taxpayers' money is flowing into a project. Okay? That's corporate terminology.
Through all of that,
if the government invests, we will look serious to everybody, which will then make everybody else also invest, which will then motivate the government to also consider us serious and then invest even more. Like, government be like, private sector is better than our sector because it is more efficient. Here is money, private sector. And then private sector is, look, we are awesome because government gives us a lot of money. Other people in private sector, please give money now. Then they give money. And then the government again goes like, oh my God, look at how efficient they've been with our money. Line is going up. Maybe we should give them more money. Then they give them more money, and then the private sector company is like, look, the government gave us money for a second time. Doesn't that show just how stable and based we are? Okay? And then another private sector competitor or ally that invests even more, which makes the line go even more up, which makes the fucking government say, look how efficient they are because the line is going up. You see why they call it a bubble?
Stammering, the CFO of OpenAI is making a clear point. The government, your tax dollars, are responsible for saving the AI project. That's more eggs in the basket. And that basket is...
Damn, my guy just spent like $5,000 worth of eggs.
...based on the promises of Sam Altman, who, as we've illustrated, lies and breaks promises a lot. So if we really look at the basket, maybe we shouldn't have been putting all those eggs in there. And it gets worse. While we were editing this video, news broke that OpenAI is seeking a $750 billion valuation and is in talks with Amazon for a $10 billion investment. That's money that OpenAI would spend on Amazon infrastructure. So I'm gonna need more eggs. Thank you so much for watching.
Come on, you could have said how expensive they are. That was like a perfect moment, potentially. Son of a bitch. There's the video.
If you enjoyed this video and want to support more of our quality journalism, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And if there are more stories like this one you want to see us cover, reach out to us at stories@perfectunion.us.